It's International Missing Children's Day, and on Jamaica Magazine today, we highlight the work of government agencies to find missing children. Hello, I am Theodore Henry, so glad you could join us. We also share what it's like to be living with lupus and learn how the Ministry of Education facilitates children with Attention Deficit Hyperactive Disorder. So please, stay with us.
It's been 11 months.
7 years.
12 years.
Since I became the most important person in the world.
It's a big responsibility to know that her future is in our hands.
I have to tell him and show him that he is my number one. I want to prepare them for life's journey. So as them grow, them know the difference between right and wrong.
I gotta make sure I keep him out of bad company. Because if I don't raise him right, the streets are gonna raise him.
I feel, she feel.
If me stumble, him fall. Knowing I'm responsible for their future and they're responsible for Jamaica's future.
So I won't give up or allow her to quit.
I gotta make sure I'm safe on the straight and narrow.
Me prefer to tell them no now than watch them regret it later.
Because to the world, I'm just another person. But to my child, I'm the whole wide world.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, May 25. Government is to develop a policy framework which will redefine the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, as a protection and service organization. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the policy is expected to be in place by November 2017.
And that will become the launching pad for a discussion about what should our new Jamaica Protection and Service Institution be. What should our new law enforcement institution be?
Mr. Holness says it is hoped that the policy will also change people's perception of the JCF.
I think that once we get to that point where the people recognize that the JCF is there as our protection to serve us, then their job, the commissioner's job, will be much easier. Because at that point, we would have enlisted the entire community in this business of enforcing the law and supporting the rule of law.
The Prime Minister made the remarks while undertaking renovation works at the Central Police Station, which was one of the two national projects on Labor Day. Within the next 3 weeks, a radiation center will be established at the Cornwall Regional Hospital to provide better services to cancer patients. The facility is being financed by the National Health Fund.
We are happy to not only finance that project, but to manage it to fruition. And we're comfortable that we will be able to provide a different level of service to Jamaicans requiring cancer care.
NHF CEO says this is one of two radiation treatment centers being established by the fund. The other, which is to be located at the St. Joseph's Hospital, is expected to be completed by the end of the calendar year. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton has called on the World Health Organization (WHO) to change its classification of cannabis to reflect its important potential for medicinal use. Dr. Tufton was addressing the 70th World Health Assembly in Geneva, Switzerland yesterday. He called for cannabis to be removed from its current classification as a Schedule I illegal drug deemed to have no medicinal benefits. Dr. Tufton's recommendation comes amidst an ongoing review of the medicinal value of cannabis by the WHO's Expert Committee on Drug Dependence. The health minister urged the WHO to be more assertive in distinguishing between the medicinal and recreational dimensions in the interest of public health. He insisted that the WHO needed to provide clear leadership on the public health approach to the development of new policies on cannabis that are now being advanced in many countries such as Jamaica. The Jamaica National Heritage Trust, JNHT, is on a mission to utilize available resources to properly manage and maintain the country's heritage sites. Acting Executive Director of the Trust, Doric Gray, made the announcement during a recent JIS think tank.
And we're on a schedule to ensure that all these sites are maintained, that they are open to access for people.
He says the work to restore the boyhood home of national hero Marcus Garvey is also progressing.
we have already started a number of the drawings, you know, to try and to move that process ahead. So far, we have been given about $35 million, and so we are focusing our attention to ensure that at least we have something for our first national hero.
Mr. Gray says a team from the JNHD is also working diligently to ensure that Port Royal is inscribed on the World Heritage List by the year 2019. The JNHD has declared more than 300 protected national heritage sites throughout the island and manages just over 30 of them. And finally, the Jamaican High Commission will host a joint UK launch of the Jamaica 55 celebrations and the Jamaica 55 Diaspora Conference on June 1 in London. This follows the launch of the Jamaica 55 UK Steering Committee earlier this month. The collaboration is expected to engage multiple generations of Jamaican UK citizens to expand on the legacy built by their parents for the upliftment of their birth and adopted home countries. The High Commission will also be working with the Jamaican community during the year to organize a number of events that will showcase Jamaica's rich cultural heritage and its influence in the UK. The Jamaica 55 Diaspora Conference will be held from July 23 to 26 this year at the Jamaica Conference Center in Kingston. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
People, me don't know about you, but me tired of with sons and daughters them go missing. It is up to all of we to make sure that the youths them make it home, make it through life. Play your part. Sign up to get alerts when a child goes missing. If you have a digital phone, text the word HELP, H-E-L-P, to 444-2432. And if you have a Lime phone, do the same at 444-4230. Protect the youths. Alert the authorities.
With today being International Missing Children's Day, we look at the work being done through the Ananda Alert Initiative to find missing children.
This used to be my playground. This used to be my childhood dream.
The Office of the Children's Registry, OCR, is the agency responsible for coordinating the safe recovery of children who go missing. The OCR collects data on and refers cases of child abuse to the Child Development Agency and the Office of the Children's Advocate for investigation and action. In addition to training search and recovery personnel, the OCR has partnered with the Library Service to disseminate information on missing children.
We have signed Memorandum of Understanding with the Ministry of Transport Works and Housing in terms of collaboration with the JUTC buses, and we have signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Ministry of Environment Climate Change in terms of we're going to be using spatial data from the Spatial Data Unit.
But the most important tool in its arsenal is the Ananda Alert System.
The administrative aspect of the Ananda Alert System is also now operated by the Office of the Children's Registry since the 1st of March 2013. The Ananda Alert System is a nationwide system which seeks to have children who would have gone missing or reported missing within 24 hours or less. So we try to ensure that all information as it regards to their whereabouts, their location, their description is disseminated island-wide.
As soon as a parent cannot account for their child's whereabouts, then they are able to make a report to the police station or to the registry by calling 1-888-PROTECT. And an Ananda alert is then activated and a risk assessment done to determine if it is a case where it is very high risk or the risk is more minimal. At that point, if the report is received by the registry, within 30 minutes of receipt it is dispatched to the Corporate Communications Unit and the Missing Person Monitoring Unit, and from there the interactions and investigation will begin.
The Ananda Alert System would not work as efficiently as it does without the support of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. There is a dedicated Missing Persons Monitoring Unit in the JCF.
When someone is reported missing at a station, this information is sent to CCU immediately. Once confirmed with the local station, an immediate release is done and this is sent out.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force also has other branches that are active participants in the search and recovery efforts. They include the Corporate Communication Unit, the CCU, the National Intelligence Bureau, NIB, and the Center for the Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse, CISOCA.
The Police 119 Emergency Center plays a big role because what they do, they take this information and further disseminate it through the police network. So all police formations and divisions are made aware of this missing person. Along with that, you have the National Intelligence Bureau, who further does correlation, intelligence gathering around this missing person, investigation, as well as alerting other partners regionally and internationally of this missing person.
Once a child is recovered, the work of the team doesn't end. The next step in the process is restoration.
Once a child is located, then we do a follow-up in counseling and social intervention from the Child Development Agency. If we do have issues with the Ministry of Education, specific schools that wanting to take back that child because the child would have been out for a period of time, we do work together to see how we can get back that child to continue their education.
If you know or suspect that a child is being abused, act. Call the police, call the OCR, or message the JCF on its new app. The care and protection of our children is everybody's business.
This used to be my playground. This used to be my childhood dream. This used to be the place.
Know your numbers and control the keys to a healthier heart. Know the numbers for your blood pressure, cholesterol level, blood glucose level, and your weight and body mass index. Find out the risks they represent and what you need to do to stay healthy. Talk to your doctor and start making healthy lifestyle choices to prevent a heart attack or stroke.
Having to deal with any form of life-threatening illness is never easy. Take lupus, for example. This disease, which causes your immune system to not function in the way it should, can affect the brain, lungs, kidneys, blood vessels, and other internal organs. So living with lupus is life-changing. Dr. Jacqueline Goldburn shares her story.
I was diagnosed with lupus in 2008, but from my own knowledge of what is happening, I must have had lupus all my life, as it were, because I've always been having symptoms. But the challenge that I had was that I was always misdiagnosed. And so that is the focus of my, the challenges in terms of, the doctors would think that I have something else and not lupus, but you'd have different symptoms. But I have systemic lupus, and lupus is not only systemic, but some persons just have what we call discord lupus or other little types, joint pains, and so on. But I have the full works. Well, I was extremely disappointed because I felt, oh my God, I have lived a good life. I have always been careful about what I eat. I've always been sure to exercise. I've used to be nice and slim and beautiful. And to hear that now I have this condition, I did not want to believe. And then it got worse after the diagnosis. You know, I had periods where I couldn't work at all. There was a 4-year period in my life that I never worked. I just couldn't work. I was just always sick. I was always in hospital. Sometimes I'm in intensive care, sometimes I am unconscious, sometimes I'm all kinds of things. So it has not been a very wonderful ride. In 2014, I became, my kidneys stopped working. So I was now in renal failure. And it means that I now have to go to dialysis. So there were days when I would just be so weak. My blood count, that's HB, would fall to a very low level. I had to get blood. I had to look at what I eat. I had to look at how much I do. I had no energy most times. I couldn't do anything. I just had to lie down in my bed. So just different things. You couldn't walk sometimes. Sometimes I can't talk clearly. Sometimes I can't see. Sometimes my hands are so sore and I can't use them. Sometimes just different things. My lungs would fail. Different things would happen. So I've been through the ropes. Mentally, it was devastating because I feel that that's not supposed to happen to me. So I went through that period. I actually went through a period of severe depression. I was just so depressed. I could not help myself. There were days I just cry and cry and cry. And part of that too is the medication that I take. Some of the steroids make you depressed. And then you look into the mirror and you look at yourself and say, who is this? I don't know you. Can I tell you, I have learned to love life and to live. And that is what is important to me. Each day counts. And I believe that I should live each day to the fullest. With lupus, there is this uncertainty. I don't know when I will be unconscious again. I don't know when I will die. But I am going to maintain the quality of life, and I'm going to have a good life, and I'm going to live. I have good family support. My husband is extremely supportive, my son. So I have them. And I have good friends. Good friends, the saying goes, good friends are better than pocket money. Then there's also the Lupus Foundation, which is important. There is a support group there. There are excellent rheumatologists there who will provide advice and help and care and just information. There's a whole host of books and tapes and all kinds of things that you can get information from. There is also the website that you can look at and get information as well. I've actually gone for job interviews and I know I don't get a job not because I'm not qualified, but because I have lupus. So employers need to understand that people living with lupus can actually contribute and, make adjustments. There are days, for example, after dialysis that I will come to work a little bit late, but I will work later to make sure that the time is there. I have learned that. It has no boundaries, it has no behavior, it has no conscience, it has no purpose, it has no time. It does what it chooses to do whenever. And therefore you need to be aware of yourself and what are some of the things that are your triggers, and therefore try to manage and monitor those. You must also be mindful of the medication that you have to take and take them carefully and take them well. You should also be mindful of your appointments with your doctors and make sure that you keep those appointments. I would say to you, help is available. Find some help, find some support. Talking about it helps. Don't feel that it is because you're special or you're being punished why you have lupus, but recognize that this is just another thing that could happen to anybody, color, class, or creed, rich or poor, man or woman. There are more women with lupus than men, but men have lupus as well. And so be aware of the symptoms, get help, get treatment. Don't hide away, don't think that people obey you, because Jamaica is famous for that. But know that this is a condition that can be controlled. It cannot be cured. It can be controlled, and you can maintain a healthy life. Seek to work, seek to be involved, do what you're doing, treat whatever is happening. If it's depression, get it treated, get treatment, get help. Help is available.
To learn more about lupus, contact the Lupus Foundation of Jamaica via their website lupusfoundationjamaica.org or 754-8458. You may also visit them at 7 Barbados Avenue, Kingston 5.
Stand up and get in the race.
I can become the master of my destiny.
Step up your stride, make we work like a harder. Do it like Veronica, bolt and a supper.
We can rise above the challenges and shine.
Was with passion in your heart. Make a plan and stop all the idling. You think that's so? We reach our aging. I can, you can. Like our Olympians, every Jamaican can.
Up next, how the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information is ensuring that learning takes place among students with Attention Deficit Hyperactive Disorder.
Welcome to our discussion on Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. With me is Education Officer in the Special Education Unit in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Mrs. Christina Addington. Welcome, Mrs. Addington.
Thanks for having me.
The Ministry has established a student support team to assist students that are diagnosed with ADHD, as well as providing a learning environment tailored to their needs. What exactly is Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder?
Well, Joey, as stated in the name, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder is a behavior disorder, and its core symptoms are inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. The disorder, for some unknown reason, is more prevalent in boys than girls. And the disorder is a common disorder, and we have up to 10% of the children being diagnosed as having attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
So how does it manifest itself?
With students who are diagnosed with this disorder, we find that their inattention causes them in the classroom to not maintain focus for long periods of time. They are often daydreaming. Their hyperactivity causes them to be what they call restless, always fidgeting, squirming, can't sit down. Impulsivity. They are the ones who are always blurting out the answers, can't wait to take their turns, and always getting into little squabbles because of the impulsivity. They tend to act and then think about it after.
So how does ADHD affect the student's ability to learn?
Based on some of the characteristic features which I said, we know that it is normal child development allows for the children to be very active and not sitting down. But when it is chronic and when it is affecting their academic life and their social life, then they're usually referred for a diagnosis to be made. So if the inattention is way more than is expected for the level of the child's development, we don't expect a 3-year-old to sit down for 20 minutes. But a 10-year-old should be able to sit down for 20 minutes. So, we look at child development and see what is atypical about the development, and then the children are referred because we see the signals. They're referred for a diagnosis to be made.
How is a diagnosis made of ADHD?
For a diagnosis to be made, what happens? The diagnosis is made by a medical practitioner or a psychologist. It is not a single test that is done, but a number of rating scales are administered, and important to note is the fact that information is gained from both the academic setting, that's the school, and the social setting, so the home. So information is gained, is analyzed based on the scores from the checklist, then the diagnosis is made. It's important to note, as I said, that for the child to be diagnosed, the behaviors have to be observed across the settings. So it can't be that it's just being experienced at home and not in school, or at school and not at home. It has to be evident across the settings before a diagnosis, a concrete diagnosis is made.
Do the parents come in?
For the most part, yes. We embrace an inclusive approach to education. However, we find that with certain disabilities, If they are severe, then the children are not in the regular system, but they are in a special ed institution. Most children with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, they are educated in the mainstream. And so what happens is through the special education unit and the special needs coordinators in the regions, we go out and we do presentations at schools. We also work with parents, so we work with the PTAs, we make presentations, we help parents to understand how is it that I can better help my child at home to cope and to be a success. Also, very importantly, as it relates to national examinations, if the relevant information is sent in, the documentation is sent in with registration, for all national exams, accommodations are granted to children diagnosed with ADHD. So we grant accommodations ranging anywhere from extra time to preferential seating to a prompter, depending on the severity of the diagnosis. And the extra time is a standard of 15 minutes, additional per hour that is given for the children. Preferential seating may be that the child is placed at the front of the room so that the invigilator, having noted on the paper that the child has a challenge, is able to give an eye to ensure that the child is kept on task. In more severe diagnoses, the child is assigned a prompter, and the responsibility of that prompter is solely to keep the child on task. So if the child is daydreaming or wandering off in his mind, just a gentle tap or nudge to help the child refocus.
Mrs. Christina Addington from the Special Education Unit in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information shared some vital information with us on how to effectively deal with children who are diagnosed with ADHD. And we want to thank her for joining us today. Thank you, Mrs. Addington.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And until next time, see you around.
That's all the time we have for today, but join us again tomorrow on this station for another program. There is more information on our website, jis.gov.jm, so log on. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JISnews. On behalf of the production crew, I'm Theodore Henry. You take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.